everyone, it's Sarah Beth here. Welcome to the first video in my new series, Women of Science. In this series, I'll be recreating notable women in the Sims 4 Create-A-Sim who have contributed to the math and science fields throughout history while giving a little bit about their life and contributions to science. Our first woman of science is Katherine Johnson. Katherine Johnson was born Creola Catherine Coleman, the youngest of 4 children, to Joylette Roberta and Joshua McKinley Coleman on August 26, 1918, in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. Katherine's mother worked as a teacher, and her father worked as a lumberman, farmer, and handyman. From infancy, Katherine had showed an innate talent for mathematics from a very young age. Her parents wanted to ensure that Katherine and her siblings received an excellent education. Unfortunately, this was extremely difficult during a time of extreme racial discrimination and segregation in the southern United States. Their home county of Greenbrier County in West Virginia did not offer African American students an education past the 8th grade. In order to bypass this, her parents enrolled her at the age of 10 into the nearest high school, which was located on the West Virginia State College campus. The family traded time between the university campus during the school year and their hometown during the summer months. That's about a 125-mile distance. Katherine graduated early from high school at the tender age of 14. She enrolled into West Virginia State College that same year. Katherine continued to show a great propensity for mathematics. She was mentored by notable professors, including Angie Turner King and W. Shiflin Claytor. Professor Claytor personally devised math courses to expand the mathematics program just for Katherine. She both excelled and graduated summa cum laude in 1937, graduating at the age of 18 with degrees in mathematics and French. She was also a member of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Katherine took a job teaching mathematics at a public school in nearby Marion, Virginia. Katherine married her first husband, James Goebel, in 1939. That same year, West Virginia State University quietly integrated its school body after the state government of West Virginia passed laws requiring higher public education systems, the universities and colleges, to offer courses and programs to all students, regardless of color or race. The president of West Virginia State, Dr. John Davis, offered Katherine and 2 other students to be the very first African American students at the formerly whites-only university. Katherine gladly accepted and enrolled into the graduate program. She attended courses for the first semester, but soon quit the program when she became pregnant with her first child. Katherine decided to stay at home with her growing family until her daughters were older. Katherine and her husband James would soon have 3 daughters. When her daughters were old enough, Katherine would later work as a teacher in the public school teaching maths and French. In June of 1953, Katherine, her husband, and their 3 children moved to Newport News, Virginia. There, she took a position working for NASA's, at the time NACA, Langley Research Center. She worked within the West Area Computing Unit, also known as the West Area Computers, headed by Dorothy Vaughan. The West Area Computing Unit and other departments like it was established during World War II. With a lack of male scientists, since most men were off to war, the Langley Center actively began recruiting female and minority experts into their engineering and mathematics departments. The program was successful, and Langley soon had 400 female scientists working within its departments by 1946. This was a contrast, as they only had 5 employees working in 1935. However, Virginia's Jim Crow laws made it extremely difficult for black women to pursue positions open to their white counterparts. All applicants applying to the Langley Center were required to take and pass an ACA exam. But if an applicant was Black, they were also required to complete a chemistry course at a nearby university in order to be hired. Langley Center employed the federally passed Executive Order 8802, barring these discriminatory practices in defense industries, in an attempt to bypass the Jim Crow laws. But the Jim Crow laws were too powerful. As a result, the department itself and the building was segregated. White employees were divided onto the east side of the building and Black employees on the west side, hence the West Area computers. This was the environment that Katherine had to work in. Fortunately, the building and employees were desegregated in 1958. Katherine was assigned to work on the Maneuver Loads branch in the Flight Research Division. She analyzed flight tests, wake turbulence, and plane crashes. She worked in this department for 4 years. Following this project, she worked as an aerospace technologist from 1958 until her retirement in 1986 in the Spacecraft Controls branch. Among many projects, she calculated the flight trajectory of Alan Shepard, the first American in space. She designed the backup navigation charts in the event of electronic failures, and most famously, verified and corrected the calculations of the orbital flight of astronaut John Glenn. He asked for Katherine specifically to run the calculations, famously stating that, quote, "If she says they're good, then I'm ready to go." In addition, she worked on the Space Shuttle and Landsat satellites, as well as writing or co-authoring 26 research reports. Katherine herself said she was most proud of her calculations that help sync Project Apollo's lunar module with the Lunar Command and Service module. In her personal life, she has known tragedy. Her first husband, James Goebel, passed away from a brain tumor in 1956. She later remarried James, or Jim Johnson, in 1959. They remained happily married for 60 years until his death in 2019. She was active in her church for over 50 years, where she sang in the choir. She has numerous grandchildren and great-grandchildren. She passed away last year, February 24th, 2020, of natural causes at the age of 101. Katherine Johnson has received numerous awards for her academic accomplishments. She has most famously been awarded the NASA Group Achievement Award, the Snoopy Award that's usually bestowed upon astronauts, a Congressional Gold Medal, and even the Presidential Medal of Freedom awarded to her personally by President Barack Obama. Her life and career was most famously depicted in the novel and film Hidden Figures, where she was excellently played by actress Taraji P. Henson. Some notable quotations from Katherine Johnson, when asked about the discrimination she faced working as a woman at the time, and I quote, "We needed to be assertive as women in those days, assertive and aggressive, and the degree to which we had to be that way depended on where you were. I had to be." She placed great emphasis on education and learning. She was heard stating to, quote, "Take all the courses in your curriculum, do the research, ask questions, find someone doing what you are interested in, and be curious. Because, quote, you lose your curiosity when you stop learning." We should thank and remember Katherine Johnson, not only for her contribution to spaceflight, aeronautical engineering, and mathematics, but also as a pioneer for women of color working in the sciences during a time of extreme discrimination. She serves as a source of inspiration and courage for future generations. I hope you have enjoyed this short history of Katherine Johnson. I wasn't able to do a deep dive into her entire history due to the length of the video, but I encourage you to look more in depth into her life and contributions. I have provided links of interesting biographies of her below. Like and subscribe if you want to stay tuned for more videos of women in science.